The death toll from the Hong Kong fire has risen to 151, with more than 100 people still missing. Hong Kong citizens have spontaneously gathered to lay flowers and sign petitions demanding the government provide answers. Public anger is growing, with many questioning the use of bamboo shelters as scapegoats. People are calling for an independent investigation and accountability for officials. This is no longer just an isolated incident, it's a sign of systemic collapse. A fire at a residential building in Hong Kong's One Fook Court raged for over 43 hours before being extinguished. Photos shared on social media show the building's interior in ruin, with walls blackened by smoke and large sections of paint peeled off. Household items were twisted and melted, and the entire apartment was destroyed, leaving only charred remains. According to Hong Kong police, as of the afternoon of December 1st, the fire has claimed 151 lives, with more than 40 people still missing. Police and firefighters are continuing to search through the rubble and burned structures, and authorities declared the death toll may rise further. In addition, the New Territories North District Commander Lam Man Han and Senior Superintendent Sang Suk Yin, head of the Casualty Inquiry Center, struggled to speak as they reported that some of the bodies had been reduced to ashes, making identification difficult. Many Hong Kong residents have questioned the official death toll from the tragic fire, with some users posting on X expressing their doubts. One vlogger said, "According to my sister's friend in Hong Kong, one of the firefighters involved in the One Fook Court blaze shared a shocking account. After searching the building, the firefighter reported finding bodies on nearly every floor, whether in stairwells or hallways, with at least 5 to 10 victims per floor. Some bodies were found in groups, possibly family members or couples, but they were all carbonized. I saw news reports yesterday saying no bodies were found in 2 buildings, but I won't say much more. We all know the truth deep down. The actual death toll and number of missing persons are likely much higher than reported. It's hard to understand why Hong Kong has become like this. It's painful and unbelievable, leaving me with mixed emotions." On November 30th, the first Sunday after the Hong Kong Tai Po fire, many citizens gathered to lay flowers at One Fook Court, with a line of people stretching up to 2 kilometers. At times, the number of people waiting reached 5,000. Some wrote on signs, "The issue to review is not the bamboo shelters, but the system." As night fell, the line of mourners remained, and the atmosphere at the scene was heavy with grief. On December 1st, people holding chrysanthemums slowly and orderly lined up from all directions, making their way towards the flower bed at One Fook Court. Their expressions were solemn and their attire respectful. Many had red, swollen eyes as they stood in line to honor the victims, praying for their peaceful rest. After the fire at One Fook Court was extinguished, the charred building walls were still visible, with remnant of scaffolding and green tarps. This stark contrast stood against the white flowers scattered at the nearby Guangfu Rest Area, the site closest to the fire. What's even more moving is that Hong Kong people once again displayed courage and unity. They shared supplies on platforms, donating simple items like clothes, power banks, mattresses, and providing free meals at restaurants. Churches opened their doors as shelters. More Hong Kong citizens joined volunteer teams, assisting with distributing supplies, providing medical aid, and offering support for daily needs. One survivor of the fire tearfully said, "The fire is burning nearby. I'm so worried, so anxious, so scared. I can't sleep and I just want to eat. But coming here to help makes me feel more at ease." The fire at One Fook Court will become a symbolic historical event marking Hong Kong's decline. The city's economic collapse has been ongoing for 6 years, fueled by the suppression of the pro-democracy movement and a massive exodus of foreign investment. The former police officer and chief executive John Lee, appointed by the Chinese Communist Party, is seen as a political enforcer, showy, focused on appearances. Hong Kong's anti-corruption agency has deteriorated, and government officials, corrupt businessmen, and mainland Chinese interests are conspiring to ruin the economy. Public sorrow is quickly turning into anger, with many questioning why the fire spread so rapidly and who is responsible. One blogger harshly criticized, "The chief executive is bowing to Beijing. Hong Kong is dead." While the people of Hong Kong are trying to save themselves and firefighters risk their lives to rescue others, this is what Chief Executive John Lee had to say.
President
Xi Jinping attaches great importance to this fire. I sincerely thank President Xi Jinping for his concern. President Xi Jinping, President Xi Jinping.
I'd like to ask, every time it's always last to say thank you to the firefighters. Does this mean their efforts aren't being properly acknowledged? This blogger stated, every time it's the same. First, thank President Xi, a man who has never ever appeared once, thousands of kilometers away. What exactly are you thanking him for? A firefighter has already died trying to save lives. Does he know? A Filipino maid is in ICU after protecting the child she cares for. Does he know? Yet all he says is thanking Xi. Lee's fawning, servant-like attitude, too afraid to speak without praising his master, is for the world to see. Hong Kong has truly become fully influenced by the mainland. Just when I had lost all hope for Hong Kong, yesterday morning, a heartbreaking news story emerged. A Hong Kong resident who started a petition demanding an independent investigation into the fire was arrested by national security. I'm sorry, but with a heavy heart, I must say, Hong Kong is dead. On November 28th, 24-year-old university student Kwang Jingfeng formed the Tai Po One Foot Court Fire Concern Group and launched a petition with 4 key demands. 1. Continuous support for affected residents ensuring proper resettlement. 2. Establishment of an independent investigation committee to thoroughly examine potential conflicts of interest. 3. A review of construction oversight systems rejecting superficial solutions. 4. Fully accountability for supervisory negligence holding government officials responsible. Just one day later, on November 29th, news emerged that Kwang Jingfeng, one of the petition organizers, had been arrested by the National Security Police on charges of incitement. The petition page and related posts were quickly deleted. The petition had garnered over 10,000 supporters by the afternoon of November 29th before being shut down. In the comment section of the post, some users questioned, "Are we not even allowed to demand the truth?" Another user replied, "Yes, it's on the news today. How absurd. Just demanding the truth and being arrested by national security. After that, people interviewed by the media are afraid of being taken by national security. No one dares to speak." Shortly after the news of Kwang's arrest, a spokesperson from Beijing's Hong Kong Liaison office publicly stated that anti-China elements and those with ulterior motives were attempting to create chaos and inciting public anger against the chief executive and the Hong Kong government. The spokesperson threatened to strike hard against those they deemed disrupting Hong Kong under the guise of a disaster relief. On X, some users commented, "The CCP has completely ruined Hong Kong. They are the true troublemakers. Until the CCP is gone, disasters will never end. Hong Kong friends, take care of yourselves." However, late on the night of November 30th, reports emerged that Hong Kong police had arrested 2 more individuals, former district councillor Kenneth Chun and a volunteer involved in the fire relief efforts. Reports indicate that under Beijing's close scrutiny, dissenting voices in Hong Kong often vanish as soon as they surface. However, the One Foot Court fire and the subsequent calls for accountability have starkly revealed the public's frustration with the government's lack of action. The article states, despite the current legal and political environment suppressing demands for accountability, the protest and anger over injustice among Hong Kong citizens have not faded. Widespread public skepticism around the potential corruption involved in the large-scale repairs at One Foot Court. On November 28th, the pro-Beijing Tai Kun Pao published a series of investigative reports titled Uncovering the Dark Secrets Behind the Scaffold Repairs. The 4-part series featured prominently on page A7. directly linked to the fire to long-standing issues in Hong Kong's construction repair industry, sparking significant attention. The report highlighted several key issues. Number one, exorbitant fees and bid rigging. The lack of transparency in the bidding process has led to long-standing malpractice, with companies colluding to push prices to unreasonable levels. 2. Profit-driven interest. The unhealthy industry ecosystem has resulted in monopolies with complex networks of behind-the-scenes financial interest at play. Number 3. Poor quality work. To cut costs, some companies have used substandard materials or lowered construction standards, posing serious safety risks. The reports did not just provide general commentary. 3 of the articles specifically targeted Prestige Construction and Engineering Limited, the company responsible for the One-Foot Court exterior repairs. It revealed the company's troubling history. Founded 21 years ago, Prestige Construction and Engineering has repeatedly been involved in violations of scaffolding and labor safety standards, with some cases resulting in convictions and fines since 2018. The company has also faced lawsuits over hiring unqualified staff and a series of construction debt cases between 2010 and 2019. Tai Kun Pao's report included insights from multiple industry representatives and insiders, painting a grim picture of the deeply corrupt ecosystem within the Hong Kong construction industry. An anonymous industry insider candidly stated that bid rigging in Hong Kong's construction sector is severe, with competitors being forced out due to malicious warnings, resulting in a handful of companies consistently winning bids. He specifically pointed out Prestige Construction and Engineering, a well-known winner of construction contracts, questioning whether its resources are truly sufficient to handle large projects. The industry often resorts to tactics like prolonging project timelines to increase cost or using substandard materials to cut expenses. Another construction professional revealed that fire-resistant protective nets cost around 90 Hong Kong dollars each, while regular nets without fire resistance cost only 50 Hong Kong dollars and can be reused, leading to market to favor the cheaper option. He noted that relevant authorities rarely inspect the quality of these nets, further increasing safety risks. Wu, another industry insider, emphasized that bamboo scaffolds and foam glue are highly flammable materials. Over time, bamboo scaffolds dry out, making them even more combustible. In recent dry, windy weather, this contributed to the rapid spread of the fire from the lower floors to the top, affecting neighboring buildings. However, just 2 days later, the report was taken down from Tai Kun Pao's website, fueling speculation. The Independent Commission Against Corruption (ICAC) Commissioner Wu Yingming stated that 13 people have been arrested in connection with the case. It's suspected that after Typhoon Ragasa in July, the original scaffolding was damaged and the supplier replaced it with new scaffolding that didn't meet fire resistance standards. To pass inspections, they purchased compliant scaffolding but installed it on lower floors, allowing the non-compliant nets to be used on higher floors. As of now, Hong Kong authorities have only announced the creation of a task force to investigate the devastating fire. Lawyer Imran Khan told AFP that the government is responsible for ensuring the safety of residential buildings. He added that an internal investigation would not reveal the full truth, and such a process lacks credibility for the victims' families, survivors, and residents. The fire has also deeply affected Hong Kong's overseas community. The president of the organization, Hong Kong Parliament Election Commission, Alan Kun, told Western media that several overlooked factors were key to the fire's out-of-control spread. He pointed out that the construction dust nets used were made of poor materials and lacked fire resistance. When these nets burned, they released toxic smoke, helping the fire spread quickly along the building's outer walls. Kuen emphasized that the real issue lies not in the fire's ignition, but the systemic failure that allowed it to happen, an inevitable result of a series of poor choices. While the exact ignition point has not been disclosed, Kuen stressed that the real problem lies in the materials used. The dust nets were not fire resistant. According to Hong Kong regulations, they can only be used in areas far from residential buildings. This project was located in a residential area between housing blocks. Quen added these nets were made from petroleum byproducts. Once they catch fire, they release toxic smoke. They weren't meant for use in open construction sites, not in residential areas. This is illegal. Australian Hong Kong political scholar and media person and educator Ling Song, whose friend was injured in the fire and whose wife tragically passed away, also questioned the official narrative. He criticized the government's earlier claim that the netting was fire-resistant, accusing the CCP of steering public opinion and attempting to shift the cause of the fire onto bamboo scaffolds. Lin said, now Hong Kong has descended to the same state as mainland China. The same tactics used by the CCP in mainland are now being applied to Hong Kong. If you raise any questions, they arrest you first, not to investigate the issue, but to silence those asking questions. This is exactly what's happening here, just like in the mainland. As a government-subsidized housing project from 1983, Wong Fu Court is home to many of Hong Kong's middle and low-income residents. Most of the residents who bought their homes in the 1980s and 1990s at around 30 years old are now in their late 60s, living with their partners or children. The tragic loss is linked to a maintenance project. In July 2024, Wong Fu Court, due to aging, began repairs. The contractor's total fee for the work was 330 million Hong Kong dollars, to be divided among 1,984 households, with each household needing to pay 160,000 to 180,000 Hong Kong dollars. Residents were required to pay the full amount within 6 months or risk being taken to court. Many residents have had heated conflicts with the property management company, questioning the high cost of the repairs, the rush payment schedule, and even suspecting that there may be kickbacks between the contractor and the management. The Wong Fu Court fire has exposed the long-standing flaws in Hong Kong's aging residential buildings, and similar old high-rise buildings are common throughout the city. Currently, there are about 44,000 private residential buildings in Hong Kong, with more than 9,600 of them over 50 years old. By 2030, the number of buildings over 50 years old could reach 14,000. Hong Kong residents are worried that the aging and lack of maintenance in these buildings has become a ticking time bomb. The pressing question for Hong Kong residents is whether such a disaster could happen again. The blogger Kai Ge said,
香港的这场大火烧了整整15个小时。
This fire in Hong Kong lasted for several hours. The fire trucks, more than 100 of them on site, seem so small, like decorations. This isn't a natural disaster, it's a man-made disaster. Why did the fire start, and why did it spread so quickly? Preliminary investigations show that the protective net on the exterior, the waterproof tarps, and the plastic sheeting all failed to meet fire safety standards. Who is responsible for this? Where is the approval department? Where is the supervision? Where is the inspection? This is a failure of the entire system. Who will take responsibility for the losses of so many families? The hidden dangers in these old buildings are like ticking time bombs sitting there. With 40 years of building age, during repairs, the fire protection systems were completely shut down. The alarm wasn't sounded. The building materials are severely outdated. Isn't this just playing with people's lives? When the fire spread uncontrollably and over 100 fire trucks were helpless, this is no longer a single person's issue. It's a failure of the entire safety system. The bloody lesson is right there. This lesson is too painful. Outdated designs, huge safety risks, non-compliant construction materials. This is a reality of many of our old communities. The problem is, what happens to these types of buildings in the future? Should they just keep patching them up or wait for the next big fire to come?
A Hong Kong netizens commented, "This is not a natural disaster, but a man-made tragedy. I hope Hong Kong people can truly wake up. The government is just a puppet. They won't understand. But ordinary citizens must realize that the root cause of this disaster lies with the CCP's faulty bamboo scaffolding nets, mainland foreign workers, and the intervention and corruption of pro-Beijing legislators in the Wong Fu Court repair project. Hong Kong people must unite to resist the CCP if they want a future."